Hello everyone, this is Inside and Xside, and I'm here to start a discussion on an interesting topic. At least I think it is. And if you are angry over the term I used on the title, let's hold that thought until the video ends. Alright? Thanks. So the topic for this video is Thor and Toxic Masculinity. Unclench your cheeks, guys, and hear me out. It's not a secret, or maybe it is since the Rotten Tomatoes score is still above 90%, that Endgame is a progressive movie. Maybe not as progressive as really left-leaning people would like, but let's be realistic, it takes steps to achieve social change. But I want to focus on one topic. All right, can we do that? Yeah? All right, thanks. Let's talk about Thor in this movie and explore if the audience can take away something from his journey. Specifically, if a viewer identifies with these characters, Thor in this one, did they learn the lesson that the character went through and use it to internalize it to solve a problem that they will face in the future? Or is everything just entertainment and you don't learn from these movies? So let's get started. Did you think his character arc was done by Infinity War? With that really emotional scene he had with Rocket? How his bravado, just captured the viewer, right? And that's all you needed. And how he finally got to swing that axe to kill Thanos? Oh, wait. Obviously, he failed. He failed at life. His mother even said so. Because killing bad guys is his life. He is strong, brave, a hero. And as the fates had him to be for so long, a winner. But he was brought down to our level. The common man. And let me just add facetiously, an American common man. In Endgame, once he is told that the Infinity Stones were destroyed, Thor, with the same mindset, just killed Thanos because that was the literal last thing he could do in this situation. Thanos is bad, he kills the bad, so he kills him. Do you see how Thor is stuck in a very strict social role that he cannot escape from? Does that remind you of something? I don't want to use that word because, like feminism, the overall community rejects the word itself. So eventually, we will have to call it something else. Marketing matters, but right now, we can't use these terms because it just triggers people. So, maybe I'll use this. Strict adherence to arbitrary social expectations is a problem. Can we agree on that? Not being flexible in the way you live your life, not being able to adapt, not being able to consider other alternatives because you already planned everything out in a single way that cannot be altered or the whole system fails. I know I'm loading it really hard here, but let's go with what I have. What does a person do when there is, and again I'm going to air quote it, correct outcome? To Thor, killing Thanos was the solution. Everything should be hunky-dory after that. But Thanos beat him, and everyone else. Again, we're targeting Thor here. So Thor is now in a world where no matter how strong he is, no matter how brave he is, no matter how manly he is, he cannot get the outcome he wants. Which leads to his dramatic, and I'm going to say comical, downward spiral. And I say comical because Fat Thor is presented to us as a joke. I want you to think back. All those years ago, last week, when you watched it, you and everyone laughed at him. And that, my YouTube friends, is society. You are the pressure that manifests into pushing people from accepting help. And I'm not getting high and mighty here. I fucking laughed as well. Come on, we all did. So in his approximate 5-year downward spiral of glory, internal struggle, he fell into what most would think makes a person happy, right? Video games, drinking, food. Oddly enough, no boning other girls. Interesting choice there, Marvel. And while confronted by Hulk and Rocket, he boasts that he killed Thanos. End of story. He is still alpha. What is his reality besides being the strongest Avenger? He is the king to a people who lost their home, almost got wiped out, and then got Thanos. His people live in a world completely different from their old world. They are now very earthly beings who are now stuck in a very human world. And I'm sure Thor is taking all that in. And he has physically transformed to represent rock bottom. But he does not admit it, because he beat Thanos. That is a fact. He cut his head off. But when given the opportunity to actually fix everything, like going back in time, he freezes up because he built himself up in such an exaggerated way he cannot afford another failure. Without being able to express emotions adequately, he experiences a panic attack, he cries, avoids confrontation, etc., etc. Even the pep talk Rocket gave him is of no help to Thor. Which then comes the fix moment. Thor talks to his mother, who tells him to fail is normal. To not be the best is normal. To be like everyone else is normal. His mother kindly picks him up from his pedestal and places him back on the ground. And I want to point out, nowhere in this movie, especially in Thor's mother's advice, does it say being masculine is bad. This is where people get upset when toxic masculinity is brought up. They're not saying masculinity is bad. Again, it's the strict adherence to an arbitrary standard of manhood. Hero. So now, we get to the answer. A way to stop a strict adherence to arbitrary social expectations. His mother reminds him he is a failure, which makes him just like everyone else. And that is okay. Because when you fail, and you're smart about it when you fail, you ask for help. You ask for guidance. You ask other people's opinions. You get another perspective. And that is exactly what Thor did. And right after, what does he do once he accepts this truth? He seeks validation through his hammer. And what do we get? We get that he is still worthy. So that, again, that's in a way the movie reinforcing the idea that you don't have to be top guy, top hero. You don't have to be a winner. It's okay to lose. It's okay to ask for help. Because now, that is now equated with being worthy. Which, again, reinforces the idea that you have to be flexible in life. After all that, you might be thinking, well, isn't this just common sense? Which is true, but again, people are not internalizing this concept to themselves. And now I want to answer the question, of the video. I actually don't think the audience identifies with Thor in this movie. They like Thor. They like watching him. He's a hero. What is there not to like about a hero, right? But I don't think, at least most people, I don't think they're seeing it as a didactic story. Because, it's just a comic book movie, right? I don't even know if people even know that Thor is experiencing what can be called toxic masculinity. Because most of his bravado is just for laughs. His power fights with Quill, his reliance on using bigger weapons, like, no, I get the bigger one. That scene? That's funny, right? So you get the idea. But again, I don't want to say that no one's learning anything. Or, like his actions have no effect within the movie with following progressive ideals. Because Thor's second to last action in the movie, when he's talking to Valkyrie, does have a significant progressive effect. He gives control to another person because he does not want to be bound by his social convention, but wants to find his own path. And it doesn't hurt that it's you would say, you wouldn't expect to be a queen, right? I'll just leave it at that. or whatever. I might just be reaching. But the cool thing about these stories is that you can interpret it in different ways, and as long as you back it up, you are correct, right? What I'm saying could be bullshit because, and again, I want to hear your comments, how you want to interpret this. So again, these are just my thoughts. This isn't an in-depth essay, but something to think about. If you're a writer, take notes because most characters that Marvel has given us through cinema can be used to examine social aspects of our world. And really, isn't that the whole point of stories? If you made it this far, let me know down below what reactions did you have on Thor hitting rock bottom. We've seen it before, but never in a way where, how could I say this? A cross between an angel and a pirate ends up looking like the average Joe. And if you take it as an attack on masculinity, let me read your argument. You might be right. I want to read your thoughts. How you got to that mindset. So again, thank you guys. Like the video, subscribe if you like this kind of content, and if you want me to interpret it as an attack on masculinity, I might be able to do that because again, stories can be interpreted in different ways. But as long as you have evidence, you can do it. So again, don't take my way of viewing this story as the absolute way, right? I'm interpreting Thor as a representation of a person getting over toxic masculinity, right? I can interpret it. I think I provide some evidence to it. Again, this isn't a really in-depth essay, so I know most of my examples are just, brief examples. But I think this serves as an outline to an actual paper. So again, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Laters.